Brendan got a great life lesson the other day. So, I don't know if you know what I'm working on. Too many things I'm working on, but one in particular is developing curriculum for a reentry program. It's a 2-week course, 40 hours, running about 60 candidates through justice involved. I think you and I talked to you. I told you I was doing it because veterans.
Yep.
So we've gotten all the curriculum developed, but I've built it off of Gimba Conry. That was like the foundation. I needed some kind of backbone. So the Japanese philosophy is pretty good. They're very proactive. And they're all about respect and identifying the problem. And rather than complaining to the person, we discuss the problem. So it's really about communication, being proactive with communication. And I thought, I don't want to develop these people's skills. I want to develop behavioral skills.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the foundation through everything. And when there's a problem, speak up clearly. Don't be afraid to say something's not right. And in the last podcast, Brendan spoke up a few times, but it might have been 15 to 30 seconds too late. And I'm like, how do I fix that? So it was a wonderful life lesson. Like, that's life. People are afraid to speak up. I remember being young and not wanting to disappoint my dad or my boss, and I'd have bosses or drill sergeants. Why in the blankety blank didn't you speak up? You know, that was the main thing in the military. So it was funny because I thought, this is a great example of what I'm trying to do.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. It seems interesting from the Japanese culture also because it's so in tune with respect. To speak up to a superior, though, might be an interesting thought. I thought that from the Japanese standpoint, there's almost they would be more reserved and not as forward to speak up and say that there's an issue.
Yeah. Is he loud enough? Is he coming through? Is the scale looks good?
Yeah.
But I need to introduce you real quick. But I also went crazy with TPS, Toyota Production System, and learning that everything, the world goes around because of TPS, and then everybody's built their own version of lean from that. And at its core, it was really, really simple when it comes to constant improvement, but it's about communication. I've rendered the whole thing down to an idea. I realized, from that, true intelligence is the ability to remove what's unnecessary.
Yes.
And I thought that's emotional intelligence too.
Well, it's true. It's intelligence in all aspects of life. Remove what is unnecessary. And
that's Da Vinci's core philosophy to everything. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication.
I don't think lean can work without a culture that values the ability to fail, though.
Yeah.
And I think that's the crux of the matter in a lot of places.
Identify a problem and make a quick countermeasure, or there's a better phrase, but basically create a countermeasure as quickly as possible.
Right. But when that countermeasure doesn't work and you get your hand slapped, so if you get your hand slapped for making a try.
Well, our culture has hybridized, I would say hybridized, but would have to bleep that.
Yeah.
But our culture is very reactive.
Yeah.
And the Japanese culture is very proactive, or at least attempts to be. That's the foundation. Whether or not they are successful, it's a mindset.
Yeah.
It's truly a mindset, and it's much more difficult than what we think. So
I agree.
Well, there we go. There's an intro. Are you happy with everything? You got the cameras figured out? Man, I don't remember what episode this is. I used to say episode blah, 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 but we're so blurry now because we're so many weeks ahead, which is great. We have a cushion. So I've forgotten what episode it is, and I forgot when it's going to come out. But this is Jeremy Neer for his second time. Matter of fact, you were the last episode I had for 5 years.
I am so sorry I shut down the last podcast.
You set the standard so high.
Which, by the way, I watched today, and it was fantastic.
Oh, really?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
It was absolutely fantastic. And then I used your AI. I typed in some questions. I wanted some highlights. It gave me links and timestamps, and I could click on the timestamp and jump to the things that I was interested in. And that's when I was like, oh man, I am too dumb for this one tonight.
No.
But it was so good.
Well, he had sent me a text. Is there anything I need to know about Jeremy? I'm like, I can't answer that through a text. Here's a link. I circled Ask AI, and I said, click this, and you'll know anything you want.
That's pretty amazing that you can do that.
Instantly, I text you back, like 2 minutes later? And I was like, this is awesome. And
I appreciate that. It was a great conversation. I loved every minute of it.
I was listening to it the other night, and I was just fascinated with where we had went with it. And it's unfortunate that it ended, but what would I say? The bar was set pretty high with that one. It was the first podcast I'd ever done without profanity. I was very proud of that. But it was funny because the Ask AI, I don't know if you remember, were you my manager when
Yeah.
I went to New York City?
Yes.
When I met with Vimeo? I met
There
with the
was-
CEO.
Yes, I was, but there was a period of time where I was your manager, but I didn't see you for like a year and a half.
That's true.
Why does that track for Nathan?
Somebody asked me the other day, "Is like, how do you get away with it?" I said, "I don't know if I'm getting away with anything. I just keep producing results, and rather than asking permission, and you guys." And I said, "Look, as long as you like say what you're going to do and go and do it." But I always presented something to you first and said, "Jeremy,
right.
I have an idea."
I think you were on the cutting edge, obviously, of knowing that AI was going to be something that we needed to get a head start on very quickly. And you said, "Hey, I want to run with this," and I said, "Go for it." You know, absolutely. Just if you have any questions, let me know. But just I'll help keep everybody out of the way.
Yeah,
And
he
you
did.
rolled with it.
And I'm telling you, nobody wanted me to do it. Like nobody wanted AI in any company, and everybody thought I was completely insane because I was running around like crazy, begging my colleagues, "You have to learn how to just talk to it. Just
Right.
learn how to talk to it." And I remember Vimeo wanted me to come to New York City and present on a stage in front of, because he knew my biggest fear was public speaking. Like it's something we went deep on, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Nathan, you have to start doing this." And I'm like, "I know." So it was like part of my yearly goals was to have so many public speaking events. And it's because of you created those opportunities for me it started off with Zoom because it was during COVID. And man, we pushed through it.
I think you pushed through it,
I
and
did.
I think the only aspect that I think was a help at that point was just forcing you out of your comfort zone, because anytime you presented anything, you did a wonderful job. I think it was probably more of an internal fear that you had of the presentation itself, but you always knocked it out of the park. And I think the more that you did it, the less fear you had over time.
I still don't like doing it. I just have to. It's a requirement now. I just don't think about it. I learned a trick. Always be prepared. And once you think you've got it, quit thinking about it.
Yeah.
Wait till the day. And I'll never forget the first time I really had to do a big presentation was in front of our big boss with hundreds of people online watching, and everybody was there to cut costs, and we're there to ask for $250,000 and got it. I don't know if we should talk about those things, but yeah, that was kind of an uncomfortable thing. I remember the pressure. The pressure was insane, and I love that I recorded it because I get to go back and see, oh, you did well there. So yeah,
those
man.
were good
And
times.
that was what, 2023? That
Yeah.
last?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the date I saw.
Yeah, and I presented because they were talking. They were using AI on the front for like word recognition software, which was like more of a machine learning, and then they started integrating some AI in the front for like scripts. And I'm like, no, you need it on the back end. This is how I use it, and I would already been incorporating large language models into our videos, and so Vimeo built it. And now it's called Ask AI. Google copied it, and now when you go to YouTube, you see that little star. No one knows. No one knows the power they have in every YouTube video.
If you hadn't sent that to me with literally a "do this,"
Yeah.
I would have never guessed.
Yeah.
And it was easy. And you can ask the most broad question, and it will break it down for you. I mean, you're literally looking at a layman when it comes to this. And I was having a blast. Like I had to remember, I probably shouldn't say this, but I was at work, and I'm doing billing and spreadsheets and all this stuff, and I look over and I'm like, ooh, click here, do this, boom, boom, boom. I was like, this is great. And my assistant's over there just looking at me like, hey man, like, gonna do anything here? But it was awesome. It was awesome. I got to know you pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Via the app. So it was amazing. But let's do this since we've been going. Why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest, sir? Formally.
I did. Jeremy Neer. I said I brought him back. I forgot which. Oh man, how do I introduce you? I feel like he is too quiet. Is he not too quiet? Is it just my headset? Okay.
Carlos's mic is
I've got this as loud as it'll go.
different quality. It sounds good. Just make sure
Okay.
you really talk.
Okay. How do I introduce you, Jeremy? I will start off with Christian family man, first and foremost. Extremely knowledgeable of the Bible. The most humble, I'm not exaggerating, the most humble human being I have ever met. And I'm talking to an audience if you wonder why I'm not talking to you. Kind, but you were a different kind of leader, and I noticed it quickly. You were one of these rare leaders, and I've only been able to put you and a couple, one or two other people in my life in this category because we all have leaders. Like you have them, I have them. And I've always been drawn to strong leadership. And do I? I'm so happy you cut me off. I'm very proud of you.
Good job.
Well, I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's just requiring syncing later. It is work. But what are you doing over there? Troubleshooting or just staring at the screen? I'm going to get this figured out. You know what I can do? I can run it on this computer and that problem will go away. Would y'all mind if I switched it?
No, do what you
Joe,
got to
let
do,
me-
man.
No, go for it. Do it up.
Okay.
With the big one, yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
Sweetest. We had technical difficulties again.
Well, at
we can
least-
just link those up. We'll link those up, I
No.
guess. We'll figure it out. Jeremy, what was I at? I
Yeah,
was
'cause
introducing
Jeremy
you.
and
This
I
is-
went off on a weird road.
We finished the
Yeah.
podcast over here.
We're
I
over
know,
here.
I was like, man, they're getting all the good stuff, and now it's not even going to be recorded.
In fact, we're buddies now. Hey, this is Nathan.
So I'd like to introduce my friend Nathan. He's
Yeah.
an awesome dude.
well, I would introduce you like as a colleague, but honestly, we became so close just, in our private discussions. And
Yeah.
I know in the original podcast, we were always talking like, golly, this should have been a podcast. And so that's it. Jeremy, one of the greatest people I've ever met, man.
No, I feel the same. Nathan, you are honestly and truthfully an awesome person, a
Pain.
wonderful friend.
The pain.
No. You do an excellent job of pushing boundaries where they need to be pushed.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we've got to go here, and I'm going here. So
Yeah.
either let go of the
Trailblazing.
leash or
Somebody has to do it.
yeah.
And it does disrupt a lot of people, and it rubs people the wrong way. And I get that. I'm completely understand.
Yeah.
IT has been my biggest struggle. They like to shut me down. I'll never forget I was in Colorado and I'd lost my wallet. I was in the Valley of the Gods. I leave there and I wind up in a town. It slipped my mind, but somewhere in the middle of Colorado. And I have a meeting with you trying to get some stuff approved with AI, and
I remember that meeting.
couldn't find my wallet anywhere. I opened my rooftop tent. I have no doors on my Jeep, so I'm thinking it's fell out the Jeep. It's between here and 300 miles away. There's a wallet with every credit card I have, and I'm thinking I'm screwed. And so I have to have that meeting, FaceTime on my iPhone. I'm in my Jeep with no doors, and we got bad news on that. But I went back and I searched in one more drawer. I'd looked 4 times, and then there it was.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
there it
amazing.
was.
It's funny how that happens, isn't it?
That's just the way it goes. It always works out. I mean, Jeremy would have bailed me out.
I
Sent
would
me a
have.
check or something.
Yeah. Western Union.
Yeah.
Western Union. They'll
Well, I
find
don't know. I don't know if that introduction really captured who you are, but it's exciting to have you back on.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I love our discussions,
Yeah.
off and on
Well,
camera.
I'm curious where it's going to go tonight because honestly, the last 3 episodes I think started off very difficult, and I thought I bet this will get pretty difficult too with all the things going on in the world right now, and he is in tuned. He tunes into these things.
I caught that with what I heard the last time. I mean, just your knowledge and but it wasn't just worldly knowledge, I guess would be the way to say it. You were in tune with what people were feeling. And then I love how you brought your faith into it.
I think it has to be the foundation, because if it's not, then boy, this could go many directions already. But without faith as a foundation, everything is relative, right? Everything becomes relative to what our own feelings, our own thoughts are, if there's not something external to ourselves. And actually, I mean, that's a part of apologetics, which is the kind of the basis for positioning for your faith, being able to debate and say there is a God, and to be able to debate for your faith is apologetics. And one part of that is that mindset of morality. C.S. Lewis, Mere Christianity, he talks about this extensively, but the idea that there is something external to humanity that tells us right from wrong, because we don't just give that to ourselves. So without that foundation, though, then you're looking at the world through a lens that is of your own design, and everybody's going to be looking at it differently. I don't know if that makes sense. So that's how I try to look at things. Like this. I mean, there's a ton of things going on in the world right now. Hot topics. And I know we just had the Super Bowl and the whole dust up over the halftime show, and that going back to the ICE stuff in Minneapolis. And there's such a world of thoughts surrounding that. But if you just start at foundation, you realize that all humanity is sinful. And because of that, we have a need for, we have a need to be regulated. God, it does say in the Bible that God institutes governments for the people's benefit. But those governments are also made of people that are also evil. So we don't idolize governments. But in the same respect, we should have a healthy respect for the rule of law. And so there's a constant battle there. George Washington said that government it's not eloquence, it's force. And it's like fire. So think of a fire. You need fire to live. Right? So you need fire to cook your food. You need fire to stay warm. But if you don't tend to the fire, if you turn away, if you let it go, untended to, it can consume you. So that's what government is. So there is a healthy way and a healthy balance of keeping the government in check and then also ensuring that the government's doing what it needs to protect the rights of citizens. But we can go way off track in both directions.
100%.
So,
which has happened.
Anarchy will breed tyranny. If there was no government, we said, we don't want the cops, we don't want ICE, we don't want anybody anymore. That will breed tyranny in itself, because ultimately those people that are left to their own vices and succumb to the evil within are going to wreak havoc in civilization. And then the rest of us common folks, the 80% that just want peace, are going to call for a strong man to put an end to the tyranny. And that's when a lot of tyranny happens from the government. But on the flip side, if we idolize government, then we end up believing that our rights come from government, and we should ask the government for all of our rights and all of our goods and everything else. And that's not how it should be either. There's this unique balance that was kind of framed in the Declaration and the Constitution, where they're really this experiment of the U.S. is the only experiment on earth where the citizens said that the hierarchy is God, and then the people, and then government. So God gives us our rights, and we offer up some of those rights to the government on our behalf to keep us protected so we can have a peaceful life. But when we flip that is when we get things wrong.
Yeah, well, not only on earth, but in history.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He's so knowledgeable. So
he really is.
All my discoveries I got from like first principle thinking, and I discovered all these things for myself, and I'd think, oh my gosh, I found something, and then Jeremy would be like, yeah, it's written in this book.
But
fun. It's fun to.
What you just said though is amazing in itself, because I just like to read those things, and then I'm able to capture what other folks many hundreds of years ago found out from first principles. Mm-hmm. You got there through first principles on your own as well. So you were thinking in the same light of like Adam Smith, yep, or John Adams.
Well, what it taught me was I had the conclusion in first principles. It's what first principles thinking is actually what kept me from being an atheist. I say the Bible, but it was really that way of thinking in conjunction with the Bible and understanding human beings could have never created this system. And I realized, oh my goodness, all of us know these things. Mm-hmm. They're all born. They're downloaded into you at conception. Yes. And that's why these ideas and religions look so similar on different continents. And you think, well, how is that possible? Well, because it's all inside of you. You just got to keep asking why, and you'll get there.
It's innate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What you were saying about Jeremy is he just so eloquently took us down a tightrope of the republic and democracy, and then on each end you either have a dictatorship or mm-hmm. socialism or communism. Mm-hmm. And you just put it together so very well and understandable. So like I'm with this.
It goes back to left wing or right wing.
And
You know,
the
you got to
plane.
have both to some degree.
Absolutely.
But if you get too extreme on either end, the whole thing collapses.
Everybody goes out on the wings of the plane. Like
But that's where this pendulum always swings left and it always swings right. It comes back. Hopefully, it swings back before it's too late.
And I'll bring it back to faith for this reason. And I've wanted to create, we were just joking about how I don't know how to create a reel right now. I'm new on Facebook, or brand new again on Facebook after an 8-year hiatus, right? And I want to create some videos.
I can help.
Thank you. I know
a guy.
I know a guy,
You
right?
got a
Actually,
guy.
Carlos. Well, I guess I do make reels, but he's pretty good at his little. He's got a process too. But go ahead. Sorry,
No, that's okay.
we know some guys, is what we're saying.
That's fantastic.
We can help.
Yeah, I need it. But what you guys were both just talking about is exactly what that first video would be that I want to make, and that is this thought. So, quick Q&A, right? When you think of extreme left, what type of government do you think of? It's like extreme left.
Social,
communist,
Mao.
Marxist, right?
Yeah, I think of Mao.
When you think of extreme right,
Think of
most
Hitler.
most of society you'll think of Nazism, etc. Right? So let's look at this. Look at this continuum. So on the extreme left, you have tyranny of government. On the extreme right, you have tyranny of government. But if you were to back up and just draw a straight line in terms of freedom, you would have on one side of the continuum, you'd have ultimate freedom, like libertarianism. Like, just do whatever you want, it doesn't matter, right? And on the other side would be total control of government. But we just said that that continuum of left and right, both ends have control of government. So we're looking at the wrong line. And the way to look at it is, if you were to have extreme left, extreme right, and then split that down the middle with another line, I think you have if that's on the x-axis, on the y, you have a continuum of faith. And so as you work faith into a culture, what you do is you draw those ends in. And so it's almost like taking that continuum of left wing versus right and putting it on its side. And in order to have freedom for the people, right, that's drawing it away from the tyranny, you need to have some faith, right? But if you have no faith, you're going to end up with the idea of a world without
Nihilism.
Yes.
Yeah, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the idea is showing people that it's not a matter of this fight between left and right. It's a matter of it's a cultural fight and a fight, a personal one as well. Those that will not regulate themselves will be regulated.
Yep.
Right. So at the end of the day, if we have complete anarchy, there's going to be some regulation put on us. But if we can do that for ourselves, then we can live in freedom without that tyranny, because we have the ability to have common discord in society. And that foundation of faith, which has been a part of our country for 250 years, has been, John Adams, we talked about him before, but he said that the Constitution was made for a moral and religious people, and it's not possible to have this Constitution for any other type of people. And so without some internal regulation, I would say, which comes from culture, and we're seeing that somewhat decay. But I think every generation can also say that. I mean, if you look back in generations past, you would say, hey, we've seen some deterioration, and then we've seen revival. And we may be seeing revival now as well, and it'll be, time will tell if that revival really sticks within the culture. The hope is yes. We're seeing that. It's interesting. I just heard a talk about the younger generation, and particularly younger men, are more open to faith than the generations before them, right? So baby boomers on through Gen X and then millennials, etc., there's been a decrease in the openness to faith, but the newest generation, they are open to faith, but they also grew up in a world through COVID, etc. So an extreme lack of trust in institutions. And so you have this dichotomy of, well, I'm open to faith, but I don't know about the church system, right? And so there's going to be this push-pull in society in the future. And only time will tell where that's going to go.
I don't blame them for being skeptical. And boy, you unpacked a lot. But the whole time you were talking, I was hearing, when we think of left versus right, it's almost become, I hear the left thinking that the right is evil based on faith. And the right think that the left is evil. And that's just not the way to look at it. If it wasn't for the left, we would have never left caves, because the left, in my mind, is I feel. The right is I think. You know what I mean? It's almost that in a lot of ways you see people that are wanting to do, just fix things, DEI, that all came out of the left. And I get it. I feel this is wrong, but that's the beauty of it. Because if you don't have that, then you don't have progress in any way. But then too much progress, you consume yourselves, and it's a fascinating thing watching it happen.
Yeah. I think that it's everything in balance.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
you
and
need
also we're being manipulated. We're constantly put at odds, because it's so simple to me. It's a distraction, and I don't think it's like some world government, some world leaders. It's like this instinct to want to remain in the shadows and continue operating as we are. Hey, look over here at these fireworks, at this controversial thing, because things have been coming out for a while now that we all thought was conspiracy. And it's all true, devastatingly true, so true that people can't even look at it, because they have to think, oh, it has to be AI. That has to be made up.
Right.
Because it's so horrific with the Epstein files that I'm just sitting here like, I can't believe Alex Jones was so right. But it's actually worse than what we could have imagined. And it's heartbreaking, because people don't have the capacity, and I don't blame them. If you started really believing in these things, your whole world would collapse. And, they were saying that Pam Bondi, she didn't quite say it, but they alluded to that she was basically getting around to saying that if we really, redacted everything, the world's economies would collapse. And you see all these people of her saying, let it. And I'm thinking, sure, but you don't realize billions of people are going to starve to death within months. Right. And so it's more complicated than that's why I don't have much of an opinion, and I don't talk about it much. I think about it a lot. I research, and it's overwhelming.
It is.
So I choose not to do anything. I choose not to act because I'm not sure.
The consequences would be absolutely catastrophic globally.
Right.
But
yes,
what you were talking about, the wag the dog kind of thing.
Tail wagging the dog?
People not only think everything's AI, there's a lot of people on the complete other end of that believe everything they see to be true, which I just witnessed.
These are both unreasonable. That's the left and the right. Unreasonable.
Just a really small, you brought up the Super Bowl earlier. I had a bunch of people, I made a very big post about
he's Puerto Rican,
media,
if you didn't know.
And I happen to
he's
be
not
Puerto
Mexican.
Rican, coming from
We've
the guy
established
that, said,
that over like 5 podcasts that Puerto Rico is not a country.
But nobody heard them say that I look browner today, so we're just gonna, that was Nathan. By
that
the
was
way.
my white balance.
But
I didn't have a better word.
No, I love you.
Okay.
Check your privilege, would you?
Yes.
Tanner? Did you look tanner
He pulled
today?
out you can say browner.
Okay,
I like
brown.
it. Toasted
You are
almond.
brown.
I'm here for it.
Browner than I am.
A little
I'm
bit.
whiter than you are. That's not offensive.
Yeah, but I didn't say, you look like a highlighter today,
Highlights are yellow.
or anything along those lines. Okay, whiteout, whatever.
That's pretty good. I like that.
My nickname's Toasted Almonds. Yours would be Vanilla Extract.
See, we're getting good at this. Well, vanilla extract's browner than you.
It's irony. Let me get back to this point before we go down this line. Sorry, folks.
We're trying to bring back
don't
satire.
tell him. Oh, yes. I thought you were going to go for the word.
I thought
We've
we
been
were
talking
doing
about-
Blazing Saddles too here.
Well,
We are getting close.
We're trying to bring the R word back in the appropriate context.
In the context of humor and satire.
Yeah.
like when you're acting the R word, it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm being so proper now because Jeremy's
But, yeah, because
well, his
he's
kids
here.
will watch it.
Because
And
I
don't
also
wanna
put a
influence.
disclaimer on our last podcast that needed to be there.
Well, I'm thinking about
know.
your kids.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about.
But going back to the Super Bowl, I had some folks that, for the most part, were very positive, very respectful in their responses. So I was like, wow, what a mature crowd. They also know who I am, and I'm not going to tolerate a lot of that either. But several people brought up that Bad Bunny burned the American flag. And I can't support that. And I was like, well, in all honesty, if he did that, I wouldn't support it either. But you can't take everything you watch on Facebook as Bible. And I said, it took me 10 seconds to figure out what they did and that it wasn't real. And it was a music video that he did where he had the Puerto Rican flag and the American flag. They removed the Puerto Rican flag and added fire to the American flag. And all of these people thought it was real. Now, I'm not defending Bad Bunny or anything in either way because there's a lot of things I don't agree with. Just because we're Puerto Rican doesn't mean, we're simpatico all the way. But it was so easy for these people to hang their entire argument on one 30-second clip that was 100% fake.
You just tied in with what Nathan was saying before too about the lack of trust of what you can see. Yeah. We talked about that when you first started going into AI, and I remember back then, you watch YouTube clips and everything's got an ad, and I remember seeing an ad and it was complete black, right? No visual, but it was Donald Trump's voice pitching some product. I'm like, okay, there's no way that Donald Trump is pitching this product. So that's a made up voice. We are now there, which is you cannot believe anything you see or hear. And that was like 3 years ago when that came out. And now obviously you can't see or you can't believe what you see visually in video. I mean, the AI generated video is so amazing, which I know you had seen my post about that on Facebook.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
But
the idea of what is that going to do with society now when you start watching videos, you're either going to believe everything that you see, which is going to drive you mad, or I'm almost afraid that we'll lose something inside as well. And I mentioned...
I think about this a lot.
Yeah. I was watching a video on Facebook, and it was somebody behind somebody else that had flipped their car, and they caught it on camera. And I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, nobody's getting out of their car to check, right? And everybody is filming, and we've talked about this for a while now. But now the thought is not only... nobody's getting out to check, but now you almost have to double check and, well, is this video even real?
That should be your go-to.
Right? And so
skeptical.
Right. But then how much does that deteriorate our own empathy?
Excited. Well, I'm excited about it. I've been talking about it for 10 years. I've been saying IRL is going to make a comeback because social media was manipulated for at least the last 10 years with bot farming,
right?
In the comment section, and understanding that, I knew not to pay any attention. So, for 10 years, I've been saying these dating websites will die, these social websites will die, because we were talking about it, I think, in the last episode, that human beings only have the capacity to have about 150 people in at one point. You can only maintain 150 relationships. And so the illusion that social media has created with thousands and thousands of connections, it's not connection, it's attention. And people have confused. That's why everything feels so hollow. That's why people are so depressed. But look how many friends I have. Look at all these conversations I'm having, and none of them are real.
Yeah.
No one's Facebook is real. That's why I would have never done a dating site, because I just know that they're 100% fake. I mean, people are fake in real life.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of time to unpack people because people mean well. They present the version of themselves they would like to be, but that wears off pretty quickly. So I always instinctively knew IRL was going to come back. So when it comes to videos, I think people will I think we're going to start having smaller and smaller tribes again. I think tribalism will start to come back more. And I think of tribalism more of a healthy thing to some degree, not the extreme versions of tribalism, but I think find your tribe, find the people that you can cohabitate with and have thoughts with, and get off the internet.
talking about
the internet's dead if no one knows it. It's
Right.
been dead for a while. It's all bots. It's been bots for a long time.
yeah, you're talking about real relationships.
Yeah.
When you're talking about tribe, that's what I think of it. Yeah.
These 4 people in a room having a real conversation.
That's right.
And this is why these conversations are going to be so successful, because it's full of imperfections. You couldn't recreate me in AI. There's no way, because AI comes off so proper in so many ways. I'm the only thing consistent about me is my inconsistency,
Right.
and which AI doesn't know how to do that. So I think real conversations, I think you need to really start doing your own little thing. I can help you get set up. You have a lot of, and the reason why, and I know we're switching gears, but I was thinking about it the whole time, just you explaining yourself. You have a way of connecting with people that. And I think your friend Rocky was kind of like putting that on me as well. Like, your gift is talking to people. And I think yours as well. You do it with such empathy that no one feels judged. That's a gift that you have. And I think all these ideas when it comes to civics, it's your civic duty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just thinking you should consider, with these reels, maybe putting some of your ideas out there.
I would appreciate some help in the real.
Well, you're really good at organizing. Like, I kept him around for the most part because he could organize the chaos in my mind. He would set me down. Okay, Nathan, you have to come up with a system that explains people how to. I'm thinking, that's not possible, Jeremy. Okay, well, hear me out. He was literally my first AI, because I've been trying to build an app today. And every time it wouldn't go wrong. Okay, paste this code in here. I'm like, and it would say, calm down, Nathan, just breathe. Yeah. Because it knows me so well. And Jeremy's like that as well. He always had so much patience.
We had a lot of really good whiteboard conversations.
We did.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. But you had so much in your mind that I knew it was going to go places. Yeah. I mean, you really have taken like the AI cart on your back. You yoked it up and you ran with it. And it has really ballooned to the folks around you, and in your sphere of influence has grown immensely.
Yeah.
You're doing amazing things with people. It's awesome.
And it wasn't that I wanted to. I despised it. I would always say if I had a big red button, I'd shut it off. But it's here. And as a technologist, that's our role. I mean, we were global maintenance reinforcement. So new technology, understanding where this can go, and you won't know unless you understand its limitations. If you don't understand a technology or a tool's limitations, you have no understanding of the capacity of that tool and technology. So,
but you've always had the entrepreneurial vision,
yeah,
right, and the early adoption necessary. Yeah. So you adopted it quite early. You had the vision, like, we can take this in 50 directions, and I can run all 50.
Yeah. Well, that's my downfall, too. I'm always about 3 to 10 years too early. So all the things that I make, like even the Ask AI, it's been around for a year and a half, and no one knows to use it. Like, we've developed technology, even for our company, that is so powerful, but people can't comprehend. Not that the idea is too good, it's just they can't understand how it could benefit them. And it's heartbreaking. You and I were like pushing a rope forever.
Yes. And I think it's a lot of that is just understanding. If you can get alongside somebody and say, hey, what problem do you have right now? Let me show you this, and kind of work with them with it. And then sometimes it's, okay, now you saw me, now you do it, and I'll be right here. It's the crawl, walk, run way of getting them through learning how to use a new tool. I've needed that. And
I hate to sound cynical, though. This is what I've learned, and I learned this years ago. People are full of crap. They really are. They really are. They say all the right things, and that's just in everyday life. Our business is not immune to it.
Yeah.
And people have good intentions, and I'm in countless meetings where people get hyped up, and they feel so good, and nothing happens.
Yes.
And it's so frustrating, because I am a man of action. You judge me by my actions, not my words.
Yeah.
Right? And it's hard to stay motivated when you connect with thousands of people and they seem so excited and nothing really ever goes. And I'm learning that that's just life. That's just part of life. And it's even though it's frustrating.
A part of that, though, too, is being a part of a large corporation. It's almost a hydra where you don't know at any given time where an idea is going to take off, but you have to get it to the right person has the extreme ownership necessary to say, whatever. We're going to ask for forgiveness and not permission.
Yeah. Well, you talked about early adopters. You always knew that there's going to be so many early adopters, and they're few and far between. But I realize it's not just our company. It's even worse when you get into social programs like government. And I've learned the fascinating thing with government is, and I got to be careful not to talk too. No, I don't. I can say what I want to because I believe it. When your salary is paid by tax dollars, you don't have the same incentive to deliver. Your deliverables need to just fit in that box, and I can make it fit. And that's our government.
Yeah.
And that doesn't stop with the people that I've worked with, when it comes to education, government, and it's even magnified times 10,000. And you're like, wow, what am I doing? I keep saying, I want to dig a hole so I can stare at the hole and look at the progress and say, I dug that. Because the work I do now, it's like, it's so big and it doesn't, you wonder, is it even doing anything,
So I was saying that there's probably going to be pockets of people within those spheres that actually do get it, and they're going to start doing some micro progress in their own little sphere in those areas. The more people you touch, there's going to be a percentage of those folks that take and run with it.
I've seen some people that really went crazy with it. Joy Rich.
Yeah.
You know.
Joy's been awesome. I think that
she's really adopted it more than anyone I've ever seen.
That's amazing. Also because there are roadblocks along the way, and you've got to find the ways to be able to get around or through those roadblocks. And she's done an excellent job with that.
Yeah. Roadblock.
Yeah,
What
right.
roadblock?
What is a roadblock?
No. There's never, no's are not in the vocabulary. And we had someone, I won't say who off the top of my head because I can't remember his name, but he said, next time you hear a no, you should ask, how do you get that no to a yes? And boy, did she leverage that. How do I get that no to a yes? And believe it or not, it makes people think, and it's almost like you're giving them a challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people want to say no. It's so easy to say no because yes requires effort.
That's true.
Every single time. So if you're hearing no, how do I get this no to a yes? It works so well.
I think asking that gives the person power back.
It does.
And that power,
You're stroking their ego.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like having the boss with the big ego,
Exactly.
but you make it their idea.
Opens that
and
door.
Suddenly the door's open. Yeah.
That's great.
When it comes to the change, though, you early entrepreneurs and early adapters, there's very few of you, for sure, because
Thank goodness.
You aren't-
The world would be total chaos.
well, no, we need that. We need the thinkers and the creators and the fearless. But I think the vast majority of people, especially with AI, it's fear of change. Nobody likes change.
Nope.
And everybody thinks it's the big black monster that's going to come in and take everyone's job and do this. And they think it's an extreme thing. I remember, best example, my dad was a boomer, right? He wrote checks for every bill we had in the house. And I was paying things online. And my dad was so resistant to not use it. I balance my checkbook. I keep it here. I do this. Until there was a problem with payroll. And my dad was going to be late on a bill, and they weren't late on bills. Hey, son, you mind paying this for me online? All I had to do was show him one time the ease. And once he saw that money came out and it actually worked, I started paying all the bills in the house online. So it takes that need.
Yeah. There's one of the roadblocks is the fear or just the distrust of new technology. We are living in an amazing time where we've seen at least 2 industrial revolutions in our lifetime, right? Mm-hmm. One is the the 4th industrial revolution. Now we're entering into the 5th, if you will, with AI, and it is the early adopters that are currently checking everything out, trying everything, telling people what's working and what's not. And then from there, you're going to have those calls. You say, hey, you're having this problem? I've got the solution for you because I tried these other 5 and they didn't work, but I know this one does and I currently use it. I can show you. So I think that's how it works in a revolution like that.
And it's so funny. As far as I am in technology, I'm so I just want to use cash. I want to use real, tangible things. Everybody says, "What are you going to do with all this technology and all this knowledge?" I said, "Raise bees." That's all I want to do. The simple things in this world. And isn't it funny? We want what we don't have, what we can't have. human beings are fascinating
Or the
creatures.
opposite of what we do have.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah. Well, the future is going to be what we visualize. If we visualize a dystopian future, that's what it's going to be. We manifest it just by what we can imagine. And I would love to imagine. That's why I was not so eager to see the entire world collapse. Part of me is like, yeah, shut it down. And then the other part of me says, the odds of my kids surviving that's probably rare. And we don't know what we're saying. We live on just-in-time services, and people have no concept. I mean, they should. Look what happens with a small ice storm.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Imagine the Great Depression times 10,000.
Yeah, without the knowledge that everybody had back then of being able to raise their own food.
Yeah. I asked my grandmother about the Great Depression. Had no knowledge of it. She was in her 90s. They were always poor, so they always grew their own. They had tribes, and everyone depended on one another. Now we say, hey, Siri, order this, pretty much. I mean, it's that easy. And we have no clue what we're asking for when we're saying, I wish it would just all collapse. No, I mean, yeah, part of me, I love dystopian movies. I love, like survival stuff because it gives you purpose. But the reality is once you spend a few minutes doing research and understanding what that actually looks like, it's anyone you ever knew, cared about, loved is gone. The odds.
That's true.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The vast majority of people that are screaming this have no survival skills whatsoever.
They'll be the first to go.
They do not know the cardinal directions. They don't know how to read a map. They can't get from here to there without Siri. What do you do when you don't have all of the world's answers and knowledge at your fingertips?
It's funny because I used to tell people, like, I basically started unschooling my kids, and I can say that now that they're very intelligent and pretty educated, maybe my answer was right. I taught them how to learn, and I said everything else is on your phone. Like, there's no reason. Memory is pointless. You know what I mean? You need to rely on memory for certain things. I said, but you can just ask your phone. And they're like, what are you going to do when that stops working? I said, well, I'm going to rub two sticks together because we're in the Stone Age. Because if that stops working, it is over. And guess what? I have two pieces of flint right there. How ironic. There's some flint right there. I'm ready.
That's
got
And
your
they know
fire.
how to build a fire with flint. They know the basics. Not that they're going to have to survive that way, but it's good to know the foundational stuff. I don't want to forget that. And one thing I'm excited about is so many people are bringing back, what would you say, primitive skills.
Yeah.
I get so excited. I will spend hours watching cobbler videos. I am fascinated with people redoing boots and sewing. And it's like, I want to learn how to make my own jeans.
Well, I think that there's a market for it because of everything we're talking about with the Industry 5.0 coming through, and everybody knows that there's going to be so much artificial intelligence. Everything's artificial, at least online. So there's a draw to something real, right? And something made by somebody's hands.
Yep.
We lost a lot of that. If you look at churches that were built in the 1800s, they're so ornate and hand-carved stone and everything else. And now you look at just the buildings that we've, it's just a straight stick, and maybe it's clean, but it's industrial, right? As opposed to having that personality developed into it. And so I think that we're going to see a drawback into that when people start realizing, wow, everything around me is fake. I really am desiring something real.
Yeah.
And same thing with relationships, and those relationships that you're talking about is what's going to get people through during hard times, because hard times will come and go for sure. But it's when what we are dependent on, if those things break down, right, then we have to rely on something. When the Great Depression happened, people had to rely on each other. That's what your grandmother said.
Yep.
Well, we are the most connected and equally the most lonely generations that we've seen, right? We're connected to 900 people online that we don't even know. And we're not talking to our neighbors, and we have very few interactions like this with friends. So I think as people start to rebuild real relationships, they will have something to fall back on when times get tough, and we'll need that.
Yeah.
I like the working backwards. I like the history.
I preserve those things.
Those things need to be preserved, but now it's not just preservation. It's people are learning them again.
Yeah.
You brought up those beautiful cathedrals with personality. How about the fact that they're still standing?
Yeah.
We don't even know how we built it. Like I think I saw a theory like there was what would you say, a conspiracy that some of our infrastructure we inherited from another. Like we don't know how some of these Capitol buildings were built. And isn't that fascinating that in a short amount of time, 250-year history, that we probably would have a difficult time replicating a lot of these structures. And if you look into European history, you think of like Jesus's day 2,000 years ago, and I'm imagining rubble, I'm imagining dirt. They were actually very sophisticated, like the buildings and the doors. And you think, you see these YouTube videos of where Jesus walked the streets. I'm thinking, that looks like a normal house. You're saying they just added electricity in that thing? It's pretty fascinating.
But I think, so you're touching on a point that's actually near and dear to my heart, because I don't believe in evolution.
I don't either.
No, I believe
I've never
in
believed in it.
I believe in the biblical view of a young Earth, and there's a ton of science to back that, and we can go down that road anytime. I would love to. But the reason why I say that is because humanity 2,000 years ago or 4,500 years ago were the same humans as they are today, with the same drive, the same ingenuity, the same positives and negatives, just dealing with different types of technology that they had at the day, but they had the ingenuity there. I mean, Pythagoras came up with some pretty good principles back in his day.
Just think all the great things that we leverage today was discovered thousands of years ago. And it's proof that they've proven like 6,000 years ago, people could only maintain relationships. That's why they know we haven't evolved at all.
Yeah.
We're no more capable today, probably less capable because of our bandwidth and our attention span has been hijacked. But people's entertainment used to be education. Yeah. That used to be a form of entertainment. Like to be a scholar, school, that word came from, to be a scholar, you did that as an adult because you had made money, you've made it through life, and now you can go and educate yourself, and you can afford these books because it was a privilege to be educated.
It was a luxury.
Yeah, luxury, privilege. And they said that we have not evolved not in the slightest. No. Our brains are exactly the same. They have been for thousands of years. And they said the same group, you could only maintain about 150 people in your circle. Yeah. No different than today. Monkeys are 80 in a troop. It's pretty fascinating.
It's amazing that technology has advanced. Our reach is quite literally global and beyond.
Right.
But we're still incapable of growing that number.
We're evolving in some ways, like socially we're evolving, you know what I mean? And I don't know if that's a word
I'm not
we
sure
can
that,
use, but we're adapting. Maybe that's the best word. We're adapting. I mean, it's hard to describe, but it's very complicated, you know? But as far as our capacity for I don't know. I just don't see anybody coming up with any new solutions since Einstein. I mean, nothing, original has ever been discovered lately.
We're talking about some original stuff, the technology that's out today, and it is both fascinating and fearful all at the same time. Artificial intelligence, any new technology is going to have its pros and its cons, but it's just a tool, and it's the morality is based on the wielder of that tool, not the tool itself. Same thing with a firearm, and we obviously would say the same thing. So,
are we talking about AI specifically, or just technology?
Yeah, AI, but any technology for that matter. I mean, even electricity. Think of our lives without electricity, right? But electricity has been used for good and for bad as well. So there are same thing with visual media, television, etc. So we could go down every rabbit hole of different types of technology. I think that there isn't this thing of evolution within humanity. I think humans are built with reason. That God gave us this ability to reason, and we reason within the society that we're born into with the technologies that are there. So we adapt because of our reasoning for the things around us.
Yeah, and our technology is a result of our suffering, our needs. Mm-hmm. And if we don't have those, then it's really difficult to try to you really, what is the saying that creativity is born in spontaneity, that type of thinking, like there's a problem, and that's how the greatest discoveries have ever been created. And usually 9 times out of 10, I'm trying to solve this problem and I accidentally create this.
It's true.
It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, so yes. So, what is that saying? I think it's what is it? Struggle is the mother of invention.
I thought
That's
it was
close enough.
it was necessity.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
And
Yeah.
our necessities have changed.
Yeah.
Right? It's not trying to feed as many our families. It's not trying
Right.
to, like, everything's just handed to us. All the information you've ever wanted is right here. I can ask my phone. And so I think that's removed a lot of purpose. I think that's why depression, that's where I'm saying we haven't
Yeah.
adapted to a lot of this. And universal basic income's coming. People have no clue how bad it's going to get when that happens. But I'm excited that gardening, even Elon's like, well, people can garden. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're talking about 50 years and tremendous amount of suicide rates before that actually gets adopted.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Those are going to be the unintended consequences of the success that we're seeing in progress.
But I think that's where relationships are going to come in as well, because I'm a gardener. I'm an avid gardener. Just built a gardening app,
Which
as
is
we were
why I brought
talking
it up.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So,
want to know more about this gardening app. You can give us a plug.
oh man, it's a plug. Great.
Plug it.
Elevator speech. So I've been into gardening for like 10 years now, and I love it. It's a great hobby, and probably longer than that. One of the biggest pain points with gardening is knowing when to start your seeds, whether you're starting them indoors or when to plant it outside, because if you get that timing wrong, you're going to miss the harvest. And all of that timing is typically based on the last.
I thought it was the Farmer's Almanac. Sorry to cut you
So
off, but
that's where I went with his app. I was like, my God,
is this the digital
he's-
Farmer's Almanac?
He's added technology to the Farmer's Almanac, which, by the way, is no longer going to exist. I don't know if you know that.
No.
A big company bought the book or the rights or whatever to it, and in 2027, it's over.
Get your copy.
No more Farmer's Almanac.
That's
So
terrible.
your timing on this is epic.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm
Sorry.
happy for the app, but I'm sad for the world. No more Farmers Almanac. What's up with that?
Honestly, don't know much about it. It was a bunch of, I don't know. I thought it was nonsense to some degree.
There was
but-
some pretty accurate nonsense,
it?
though, man.
That's crazy.
Okay, so yeah, we
No.
totally hijacked
No,
you. and
Yeah.
that's all
broke
right.
your train of thought.
No, so but the issue is that timing is always based on when your last spring frost is and when your first fall frost is, right? So there's this time, this window, and if you're in New York, that time between the two frosts in the summer when you can plant is going to be shorter and different than down here or wherever you're at. So I was able to
Okay,
use.
so
go ahead.
geographically specific. This is why you've cultivated all these zip codes, right?
Right, yeah.
That's why it
so
works
I pulled,
off that.
Yeah, so the app uses somebody's zip code. Basically, you put in your zip code, and then from there, it knows the frost dates for your zip code. And then I have a background database for if you're planting these sort of plants, here's when you're supposed to plant based on the frost date. So it just tells you, hey, start your seeds now, or that one will be in May, so wait till then. And it gives you all of that information. It's just one way to break through one of the biggest pain points in gardening, because it's obvious, you got to put a plant in the ground or you got to put a seed in the ground, but the difficulty is when. When should I do that?
So is it totally data-based machine learning AI in there? Is there any large language model?
Not yet.
So you're going to integrate that and
Yeah.
let them take advantage of the camera feature, because they can like scan their plants and it'll tell you what's wrong with it.
Yes, I would love to get to that point, but I also want it to be kind of organically grown, pun intended,
Yeah.
the app.
Nice.
And the reason is because I want to build it for what people are going to use it for.
Yeah.
So I made this minimum viable product, MVP, of an app, which just has, hey, you enter your zip code and you find out when to plant stuff. But I put in there a section where people could give feedback. So, hey, if you have a suggestion for another crop that I didn't think about, put it in there and then we'll add that. But if you have a suggestion for a new feature, go ahead and send an email with that and then we'll build that. But what's amazing is I've never built a web app before, and I was able to do it using two artificial intelligence platforms. I used Replit to pull all the zip codes and all the frost dates for the zip codes, and then I went over to Base 44 and I built the app in like 15 minutes. I mean, it was wild.
And the irony is I've spent all day on Replit trying to understand how to build my own apps. And I didn't want to wait on anybody anymore.
That Replit part was a long part, but it was
Just understanding the interface.
That's right. It's a great platform, and it's a great way to learn the code, like you were talking about before. Because
it's
I'm not a coder, I'm not a programmer.
No.
I've done programming in the past, but not to that level at all. But it is a great way to be able to work with something. Oh, why didn't that work? And it tells you, hey, this part here isn't working, and because I missed a symbol or something. And so it's a great way to learn how to program too.
Two questions for you on this. First of all, what's the name of the app?
So it's
MVP.
Yes, so it's Cultivator, but it's so the Cultivator is CULTIVATR. So there's no ER.
Okay.
.com.
It's cultivator.base44.com.
Okay, we'll throw that in there and in the notes.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
just
I'll put
giving
it in
Nathan
there.
some work.
Yeah.
But I have friends that are really into indoor and outdoor planting. Melissa, I'm talking to you. Hello. She's one of my best friends, and sometimes I walk into her apartment and there is literally a jungle in there.
Nice.
Now, will this app be able to help people that plant both indoors and outdoors?
It possibly could. I mean, indoor plants are a little different because they're typically not needing direct sun, and they're not in a frost situation. This app is going to be more for the gardener that needs to plant for harvest, if you will.
Is Melissa growing corn and
Now,
soybeans?
let me tell you, she grows herbs and spices,
Okay.
and she moves plants outside. She
Can
moves
she
them
teach
inside.
me how
I've
to-
taken stuff.
Can
from
she
her
teach
plant.
me how to keep some oregano alive that I get from Kroger's? Because it lasts like 6 minutes.
Now, I'm
as soon as I set it on my counter, it starts to wilt.
It is incredible what she can do. I actually call her Melissa Medicine Woman sometimes because she's also
has a green
into
thumb?
very green.
Okay.
And she's into all these organic things, and she, because of some medical reasons, looks for organic and what do you call homeopathic. You know, I told her I was going to buy her a cauldron, to be honest. You know, she makes
Nice.
these shots, these allergy shots, and a lot of the stuff she buys them. But when she's cooking, she's like, hey, I have some extra mint or some extra this. And it is the freshest, most powerful, pungent even, mint I've ever experienced, or oregano, or, you know, you name it, she'll do it. Like if she's suddenly cooking some type of soup that requires these herbs, next thing you know, she's growing all of them. She's figuring it out. So that's why I bring it up, because there's people that really get into this. And I mean, she moves stuff from her balcony to, hell, I'll take it. I've killed 19 plants. And she, you know, I bought this thing called a steel plant. And this, like
That's
steel.
the one you can't kill.
That's the one you can't kill.
I looked this
and
up.
I
need
killed
plants.
it.
I was looking
I
for plants
killed
for
it.
the office, and it said, okay, Nathan, start with
Yeah.
this.
It was advertised to me as like the man-proof, kill it, like you just water it once and like wink at it and it's gonna be fine. And I killed one and the other one was dying. I called Melissa. She's like, oh my God, Bestie, just give me this thing. So I took it over, and of course, it's still living to this day just fine.
Nursed it to health.
I would
Like-
kill a cactus. I have
I
no luck.
would kill a cactus too.
Yeah, I
just-
wouldn't neglect. Thank goodness I haven't killed my dog.
Like, I just
she
got
doesn't
made
let
fun
me
of.
not give her the attention. I feed and water her, but she reminds me.
Yeah, Danny ain't gonna let
She
you
is
forget.
like on point. She knows when she needs water. Her alarm clock is amazing.
I gave up on it, and I got made fun of today because I sent some pictures of some home decor, and I have a ton of greenery in my house. Every bit of it is fake.
No kidding.
And it's just because I can't keep anything alive. So needless to say, there's a lot of different people that could use your app.
Yeah.
That's why I'm interested in.
Well, it's interesting you brought this up as well. One of the reasons to grow your own food is because it really does taste better. You know, you mentioned the mint. The stuff that you get at the store, how blessed are we to be able to go to a store and have, just a plethora of options there, right? That's a blessing. And because we grow dependent on that, we've lost some of that skill to be able to grow our own. But a lot of that produce in the store it's made for the store.
GMOs.
Well, it can be that, and yes, that's another topic, definitely. And I try to avoid all the GMO stuff, which is difficult. But also, even just produce when it's so for instance, citrus ripens in the winter, but you can go and get citrus in May at the grocery store. But what people don't realize is that citrus has been sitting around in a freezer for like 4 months waiting for you. So they pick it early.
Green.
Yeah, they pick it early so that
It
it'll
loses its nutrients
Yep.
when you pick it green.
Right. So when you get something and it's fresh and it's in
Vine
season,
ripened.
yeah, that's why it tastes different. It tastes better because it is.
And I understand we're trying to feed nearly 9 billion people. How many
Yeah.
people do we have now?
I think it's 9. I think it's 9 billion.
Boy, it jumped up there quick.
That's a big number, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, we're trying to feed a population. You know, I have my book right there, The Backyard Homesteader. I've never read it, but I'm ready. When the lights go, I'm going to open that book.
Spark a light on your
Yeah.
flint
Yeah.
and get some reading light for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a really good book. What got me started in gardening, it was an easy book to read and it had all the info in there for you. It was a Square Foot Gardener. Square Foot Gardener is an excellent book.
Yeah. I love these people that like live on a half acre and grow like a year's worth of food. It is fascinating. I've went down that rabbit hole. I've done all the research to think that I have the confidence to make that attempt. You know, I think I'd be okay. There's going to be a lot of trial and error. I may lose a few pounds before I figure this out.
It's not as important or as impactful as parenting, but the preparation is the same. You can learn as much as you want, but until you jump in and try and succeed and fail, you're going to learn way much more once you get into it.
Tell me, what's the learning curve? Now, your app will obviously reduce the learning curve in doing your own backyard gardening, I'm certain. But without it, how many years do you think it took you before you had a viable product? And when I say product, I'm talking about plants.
So the very first year that I put in a raised bed, actually everything just exploded. It was awesome. And then I did the second year.
So you're saying this is easier than okay.
No, that was false confidence because the second year I put in this, like the same plants, etc., and almost nothing came out. And I'm like, oh man, something's not right here. Then shortly after that, we moved down to Tennessee. I had a sabbatical from gardening until we got into our place, and I wanted to start again. And during that time, it's just iterative. I think it probably takes at least a couple years to really feel like you know you're going to have something. And then from there, it's just trial and error and seeing what you like. The biggest thing I could say is grow what you're going to eat, because there's
Corn
nothing
and potatoes. That's it.
There's nothing worse. I mean, I could make eggplant grow out of my ears and nobody in my family is going to eat it. And so I found that out one year.
Yeah.
So grow what you're going to eat, because it's a lot more fulfilling and filling. But yeah, that was a terrible pun, right?
No,
you want to jump into dad jokes?
You had me. I was good. I'm dad jokes all day, brother.
And then just if you know you like that crop, that vegetable, let's say, then just learn about that and get that going right, and then add something along the way. There are some things that are super easy to grow. Like if you started the grow season, you get some peas and you just throw the peas in the ground, they're going to grow and they're going to do really well, around here. There are other things that are really finicky. Tomatoes can be super finicky. They need the right amount of water and everything else. But those are things that you just learn as you go. And it does take trial and error. There will be errors. There'll be failures. Like, man, I didn't get a single tomato this year. No, well, okay. Learn from it and try again next year, and talk to your neighbor who may also be gardening and see what they're doing.
All right, so basically, I'm just going to give money to Melissa and go pick her stuff.
Or you could do that.
I need basil, mint, and oregano. Man.
We're talking about when the grocery stores are empty. To some degree, we're thinking, okay, what are you going to provide to your tribe besides that beautiful smile and money, because it won't have any value?
I keep gold, silver, and I've got a lot of guns.
Awesome.
So I'm protection.
Okay,
Yes.
there you
Yeah.
go. Security.
I know what I offer.
You're going to go protect our
Yeah.
garden. I don't know if that's the right button.
I could come deliver some
my
vegetables and some eggs.
Didn't mean it like that.
And everybody that's trying to rob you, I'll be picking
Yeah,
off.
that's right. And I'm gonna knock before I enter.
You know.
Yeah.
Now, I want to shift back to what we were talking about because I had a question in my mind for you, just because I really want to hear your answer. I love the way
He articulates
it's so
things well.
incredibly well. When we were giving value to using our hands and building things, I want to go to, not just architecture, but things made out of wood, things that are passed down in your family because they were made leather. Things that were made just so well that there's people that are going, hey, this was my great-grandfather's. And I'm holding it, and I can see just the time, the effort, the intricacies of it. And it's still in absolute phenomenal shape. We as a society have, because of mass production, IKEA, well,
convenience.
good luck building that, but good meatballs, though. And we have lost value. Everything is cheap and easy. So we're in a throwaway society because I'll just get a new one. How do we get back to value? That's a big one for me.
Go ahead.
I think it gets back to first principles. Are you making something for love or are you making something for money? Right? The people that put their effort into those cathedrals did it out of love for the cathedral, for the people that were going to be going there. The Bible talks about, if you are working, work as if you are working unto the Lord, right? So even if you're working for a boss and maybe, you're having a hard day, just remind yourself, my effort here is a representation of my witness to the Lord, and I'm going to do it with the best of my ability. And I think that when you're working for a greater cause than just money, and you're putting into it because you realize that there's intrinsic value in it, there's a personal value to it, then there's the workmanship comes through. Working because you love the craft, right? I love doing what I'm doing, so I'm going to spend that extra time to make it just right. I think it's working for love instead of working for money. Because when you work for money, hey, I'm just making this product, and I realize that I'm going to try to cheapen as much as I can that I put into it to get a larger revenue from it.
I'm a capitalist, but that's the downside of capitalism. You take it too far, and you have to, if you're not constantly growing, then you're going to be consumed by your competitors, because at the end of the day, it's the consumer that kills creativity. It's the consumer because, but I can get it cheaper here or this. Right. And I think we're kind of moving away from that in some way. It's that pendulum that swings back and forth. But go ahead.
It goes back to faith. And actually, Adam Smith, the father of capitalism, he didn't write one book, he wrote two. And The Invisible Hand is what talks about the underlying morality that should keep capitalism in check. And we talk a lot about the wealth of nations and the ideas of capitalism and the freedom that is expressed within capitalism, which is beautiful. I would not want to see anything other than that. And I hate socialism, and Marxism has been tried and failed all over the globe with horrendous results and mass casualty, literally, to boot. So we have this freedom, but again, those that will not be regulated, those that won't regulate themselves will be regulated, right? And Adam Smith recognized that in his books, and in his second book, he talks about this underlying morality that would come along with it to keep capitalism in check. But just as the Constitution's only made for a moral and religious people, it seems like capitalism is as well. And when we start getting back to that is when we'll start getting back to that, putting love into our craft because we're loving on the people that we're giving to. And if not for them, at least for God, because he tells us to.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to hear that because people are consumers because they're buying their happiness. It's these impulse buys. And they don't even know they're doing it, sadly. But I think that's what's driving it. If you it's complicated, so I don't want to just glaze right over this like it's no big deal. It's very complex, and I do not have the answer. I can just see some of the obstacles And I don't know. I don't know. I don't even want to go too deep down it because it's very, very complicated.
Yeah, it is a cultural thing for sure, because on the one hand, you want to have this value, this love put into the products that are made, but again, if there's not the consumer base to purchase it, right? So it's not a matter of attacking the developer or the product maker or the consumer. It's understanding what is inherently missing in the culture and driving that, and that fixes so much of all the ills in society.
I think the ones that survive are the ones that refuse to do it for the money. The smaller companies that, whether you're building a motorcycle or boots or whatever it is, you are not willing to compromise. You're not willing to sell out. It's your love for the work, for the product, far outweighs. And that's every company starts off wonderful. They all start off wonderful with health benefits. Every new company starts off with great intentions. But then the suffering and the sacrifice that it took to build this company that builds this product, whatever it is, whatever problem is trying to solve, as new generations come in that did not experience the point of reference. They did not experience, and this is why I talk about this a lot. And this is why I was so obsessed with AI, because I realized humans are amazing at building systems, and systems are designed to overcome suffering. That's all they are there for. There's something going wrong. Okay, let's develop a strategy. Okay, let's implement it. And this is the way it's going to be. This is your foundation. But I realized if we come in, new generations, new employees, new managers come in and they don't understand what the foundation it was built on, we keep building taller and we're decaying at the foundation. So I love Kaizen. I love the Japanese philosophies because I truly believe you're not supposed to make an improvement unless it reinforces the foundation. Yeah. And that's a mindset that you can't teach. They've gone crazy with Lean Six Sigma and all this nonsense. These things are polar opposite of one another. Yeah. It was what I've learned. I've learned that Lean Six Sigma is a way for consultants to capitalize on something brilliant. Something truly lean means to reduce, and every time you add to it, it's counterintuitive. And anyways, I just learned that if you do not change the way you think after you have been exposed to these philosophies, then you didn't learn it. You memorized a bunch of stuff. And I think that at our core is the problem. Too many people have gotten educated and gotten degrees based on these fundamental principles, and they've overcomplicated it so much that our foundations are crumbling.
Yeah, I think that you don't memorize morals and values, you consume them, right? It becomes a part of you. And to your point, as you see institutions, businesses, etc., they go through like those starter phases where you have the point. Take Disney, for instance, right? And Disney had its flaws. I'm not going to go down that road, etc. But the main point of Disney and Disneyland was to bring people together, give them a beautiful place to be. It was all about the family, etc. And obviously, here recently, Disney had gone off the rails, and I think they're realizing that, and they're trying to adjust course. But they went off the rails because they lost their core principles. You
get investors involved, and you put people on a board that only understand numbers. They don't understand the values that it was built on. That's the foundation. Yeah. And this is where we're reactive. We're a reactive culture, not a proactive culture. And that's a mindset that you had to have been like the Japanese. You know, their mindset is a result of World War II to a big degree. It's like, okay, we know what suffering really looks like. We must instill these values in our culture. And I'm not saying the Japanese have everything right. They have something called a suicide force. So there's flaws in every system, but we're learning as we go. And I think about it too. I'm hard on us, but as a species, we've done amazing things. I mean, I look at this technology that I'm talking on, the luxuries that I have to choose what I want to do for a living. And so as I can be hard on it and, crap on it all I want, but I look at every time we collapse, we've rebuilt a little bit better. So in some ways, I'm amazed at what we've accomplished and the peace that we've brought to the world, because it was way rougher in a lot of ways. Now you see some satanic things happening, in the dark shadows. That's always been here. Evil's always existed. It's just the way it is. But I try to give us a little bit of credit and a little bit of grace, because I want to say the S word so bad, but I'm not going to, because it seems so appropriate right now. But
No.
I go back and I just use the word or the phrase, it's complicated. It's very complicated.
But I think also, let's talk on a human level and connection, because that's what it's all about, right? It boils down to what happened to mentorship, what happened to apprenticeship. I think it's very difficult to pass on the difficulties that you went through. If I come in as a novice and I don't understand what it took to build. But you're putting me through the ringer and explaining to me your experience and then giving me a small portion of that. Obviously, I will never experience what you went through or what you went through. But as a mentor or as a young apprentice, you're going to put me through the wax on, wax off that I'm going to find to be incredibly annoying and incredibly difficult, and I'm getting blisters and I don't understand why. Yeah. And then all of a sudden there's going to be that moment of realization. But that only happens from a direct relationship with another human being, not from a textbook, not from a YouTube video, because I don't feel it.
What you're describing dissolves, though, naturally. It dissolves every 80 to 100 years because we lose the point of reference. The people that are coming in, they don't see the value in understanding these. What you're describing are fundamentals. They don't understand it because they've never experienced the loss. Right. And so you can't have them feel something they didn't experience. You can explain it all day long, but until they've experienced the heartbreak of going through something difficult, this is why we build systems and it collapses over and over. And that's why I said I got so obsessed with AI and I thought, okay, I can leverage AI in a very useful way. Humans are really good at building systems, but we suck at maintaining them over time. And that was the revelation that I'd had. So that's why I really dove deep into it. And I thought, okay, we build them, we'll let AI manage them because AI can remember the point of reference. It says, oh no, Nathan, this is why you can't go that way. That's why I built an AI called Crown Over Craving, right? And I built that thing to remind me of the suffering that I have in my journals. And it's like, oh yeah, it snaps me out of it. And that was my life. That was my lived experience. And I still repeat the mistakes over and over. So I built an AI to mirror my life's experiences. And so that's my direction. That's my contribution to how I leverage AI. And I really believe it's the only way we're going to keep from collapsing over and over is leveraging a technology like this.
Well, you've used the tool. I'm so sorry I stepped on you again.
No.
I think of your children because Nephew's sitting here, and Nathan thought of this on a much broader scale than most. Not everybody's going to take the time to write in a journal and then pass those journals on. And then the best thing you can hope for is that someone's interested in reading those journals. So you've put your life and your experience into this AI and have taught your children what's going on so that your children and your children's children and so forth can go back and know who my great-great-grandfather Nathan was and all the crazy stuff that he did and all the cool lessons. You've made it a lot easier. Now, this is a great example of taking AI and this tool and using it for something beautiful and something good, where his kids that may not know some of the struggles that we have today are going to be like, wow, Gramps sure went through some stuff, you know?
Well, and it's not going to resonate with them. And that word resonate means something, to feel. I believe in feelings. Feelings are powerful. They give you a sense of direction. That's all. Then you calm down and you use logic and reason and you reach out and you get advice and you try to make sense of these feelings. And that's the point of all hundreds and hundreds of videos that my kids get to leverage, because it won't make sense to them today because they don't have that emotion of, oh my gosh, I think my life is over. Yeah. Then you're open to accepting new data. So all the life lessons that I've kind of preached and taught along their lives, it won't resonate until later on in life. That's why we get so frustrated as parents, because we try to you should listen and learn from my mistakes. No, that's nonsense. We can't keep preaching to our kids. We don't work that way. Yeah. But it's because I figured out how the brain worked. We have a resonant memory, and those are we have a resonant, I call it core memory. We have an ephemeral and a resonant memory. The ephemeral, I've learned that the body, they've discovered this in the 50s, that the human mind is designed to shed data intentionally, because you consume gigabytes per day, lots and lots of data. But if you preserved all that data right, you would have a cognitive overload. So your body and your mind is protecting you from being distracted by nonsense. And so that's your ephemeral. It sheds about 99% of the data. That's why it's funny, because people believed that we only used 1% of our brain. Now, we use 100% of our brain, but we only maintain 1% of the data that we consume, which is why our education system is you have to keep being exposed to it. Every time you get exposed to a math formula, you remember 1% more, and you do it through repetition, and then it becomes a part of you. But there's this magical thing, your resonant memory. Those are the things that truly resonate with you. And I made that up. That's my own thought process. But you wonder why some things stick with you. They're burnt into your DNA, and they may get passed on to your offspring when you pass away. You know, this life experience, it's burned into you. So it was built off of the body and the mind's ability, or not ability, but necessity to shed data. And that's why we forget. And what did you say? Short-term memories you was talking about? You say it all the time.
Society. We live in a society with amnesia.
Amnesia, yeah. And it's intentional. We're designed to do that. And that's why we have books. That's why we have our own journals, because we can't remember the same conclusions that we've come up with. Songs. Think about songwriters. They get a song and they say, oh my gosh, give me a recorder, because they're going to forget it.
Right.
They're going to forget the essence. So we got to show ourselves some grace and quit being so hard on everybody around us, and just accept that, hey, people got to learn for themselves. Allow them to fall on their face. Allow them to feel the loss, and then be there for them, and not say, ha, I told you. This is the number one problem with parents. You wonder why your kids don't want to listen to you, because we sit around and we patronize them, and we make fun of them like bullies and say, I told you not to do it. You should have listened to me. And, well, do you think that kids ever want to listen to you again? Because they know if they come to you, you know what I mean? Right. This is something that's been very important in their life. And I didn't know that. And I've been kind of not teaching them that, but exposing that, oh, you know what? You're not going to go to get it right. So I encourage them to go make mistakes, go get in debt. So I went the opposite. No, you should know what it feels like to be $10,000 in debt and have that emotional, overwhelming feeling of, how am I going to get out of this? Because the emotion that's attached to that experience is the exact same emotion if you're $1 million in debt with 3 kids. Then you end up committing suicide, because there is no way out. So I say, feel that early, and then you know not to repeat it. That's the secret.
I love that philosophy, because nothing shuts off learning like resentment and shame.
It's true.
You know, I don't want to listen to the person that I feel bitter about.
That's absolutely right. You, as a parent, you have to be able to give your kids identify those areas where you can give them risk to fail that is not going to be a deep end failure. Right? So give them that opportunity. I am so proud of my daughters over the last ice storm or whatever, right? They come rushing in. I'm working from home. They come rushing in. Hey, do you have any spare wood, in the garage or whatever? No, all of it's outside, whatever. Well, they go and they grab this, and they're like trying to cobble together. They want to build their own ice rink outside. So they're, just trying to build this. And I'm like, that's fantastic. And it actually would have worked out great, but then the ice melted. But the idea being, let them try. They're gonna succeed. They're gonna fail. They're gonna learn from it. To your point, in the failure modes, and that's a minor. But I mean, in the failures, they're gonna learn more than if everything is going hunky dory.
Well, I know people love to use that word. Oh, you're gonna fail 1,000 times. I think of failure as giving up. I think making mistakes, and I know it's okay to say failure, but I really hate that we use that word. It has such a negative connotation. I wish we would invent a new word that would be more aligned with mistakes are inevitable. Yeah, that's when you're going to learn. I've never learned one thing from someone telling me how to do something or from getting it right, because it was more than likely an accident. Right. I've learned everything from doing it wrong. Right. And then I had to reverse engineer that and figure out where I went wrong. And because I went back further than I normally would have had an opportunity to, I made these discoveries along the way, and that's how I became an expert at everything I've ever tried. It's just, we like to say through failure, but I don't think it's failure. I think failure is quitting.
Mindset and perspective, because I don't know if it was Edison or who it was, but they were the light bulbs. It was, Edison. Hey, you failed 1,000 times. No, I learned 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb. That's right. So it's all in your mindset.
We should celebrate that.
We should celebrate that.
We as a culture have shamed people around us, and it's ego. It's people that don't know, and they like to make fun of you because you don't, and they didn't know themselves. And such a toxic way of being, but it's a very insecure mindset to make fun of somebody for not knowing something. This is the reason why people don't speak up. And another reason why we were talking about public speaking, I just recently learned public speaking is the number one fear in the world, and I finally learned why. Remember we were talking about that 150 people in a tribe? If you said the wrong thing, you could have been exiled, and the consequences is death. No reproduction, you know what I mean? It was a huge problem. So people had a fear of speaking up, speaking out, and saying the wrong thing. So that's that memory. That's what I talked about, that resonant memory. It was inside of you. It's why you're scared of the dark, because animals used to hunt us in the dark. And I think that's fascinating to me. That's fascinating to me. So I think embracing and celebrating mistakes is good job. You know a way not to do it. So this is the reason why I'm so involved in the education system now, because I'm going into these classrooms and getting excited with them. Oh, we don't know. Let's figure it out. And if you can teach a kid or an adult to have a mindset of, I don't know, we'll figure it out. If that's your response to every challenge in life, you will win at everything.
It's hopefulness. It's hopefulness instead of despair, you know, and hopelessness. It's hopefulness. And I think it's a matter of celebrating the try. It could have been successful. It could have been a mistake, right? But celebrate the try regardless. Hey, that's awesome that you tried that. That's awesome.
Well, you know, we sold the whole platform on confidence is a result of the attempt, right? And then it's from making the attempts. The reason why we built this whole media platform was not to turn people into experts. It was to give people the confidence to make an attempt. And from the attempt, the confidence goes up and your competence is the result. There's actually a formula. I call it the how to life. And I heard Tony Robinson had it drew on a napkin. He didn't invent it. I don't know who told him about it, but there's 4 parts. It's you have in the top quadrant, you have a P. It's PARC. So you start with P. P is your potential, your full potential, everything you're possibly capable of in this moment. How do you increase it? You have 2 choices. You have a problem. You have an opportunity in life. Maybe it's coming up and speaking in front of a classroom. Maybe it's applying for a job. It doesn't matter. There's an opportunity for you. What is your instinct? Do you go to your certainty first? Am I certain I should make this attempt? Do I possess the potential to even do it? The answer is no. But if you go to certainty first, you will always talk yourself out of making an attempt, because that's the other way. So if you go to C, you're never going to make an attempt. But if you blindly say, yeah, I'll try and take action, no matter what, you're going to get a result.
Yeah.
And from that result, good or bad, you will increase your certainty because you will learn something. And every time you increase your certainty, you expand your potential. And that is the secret to life. Making an attempt, going over and saying, hello, my name is Nathan. I think you're cute. Can I take you out? Little things like that.
And I know it's coming up on Valentine's Day, but no, you cannot.
That was such a good response.
I was not expecting that at all. You did so good.
No. Well, you know, confidence, I've heard this. I don't know where it came from, but confidence is when a person keeps a commitment they made to themselves.
Wow, let's unpack that. Confidence is when a person keeps the commitment they made to themselves.
So, in other words, like, man, I think I can do that.
So we're talking about
I wanna
confidence.
do that.
We're talking about courage, or we didn't say courage, but where does courage fit into that?
I think the courage is so.
It's complicated because I heard that courage is the thing. I heard that. I don't know if the word was courage, but basically I heard someone say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was something like the courage comes after you make the attempt. Like the courage that you feel, that sensation of feeling courageous is a result of going out and doing the thing. Like Will Smith was talking about jumping. You're terrified until you jump.
Right.
And then once you jump, you're in it. So go back to confidence. What were you thinking?
No, so the idea being, like, if you are lacking self-confidence, the idea is start off with these small wins of telling yourself, yes, I can do that, and then make that attempt. Pick the attempt and not the, what did you call the C?
Certainty.
Certainty, right? So pick the attempt, because then that is you're going to, it's like this continuous loop in your mind, like, wow, I just did that. And it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but I made the attempt. And that builds confidence.
Yes.
So that
exactly
continuous action.
Which expands your potential. And by that meaning, your certainty's up, your potential has expanded, which is why there's nothing I'm afraid to attempt, because my certainty is so high. I've out of ignorance, I make attempts. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to try.
Yeah.
And it's luckily for me, I think it's a result because I think it's a result that I rejected the education system at such a young age. Matter of fact, the 4th grade, and I just thought, well, I guess I'm stupid. I'm just going to do it my way. And I just would blindly try this, try that, start this business, start that business, go into HVAC. Literally, there's nothing I have not attempted and become somewhat very proficient at. And there's not really many things other than gardening. I haven't tried gardening, but I've tried everything else. And I'm like, okay, I've got this.
Yet.
Yeah. I've never tried counterfeiting either, and I think I'd be great at it.
We should try.
I watched a YouTube video on the world's last counterfeiter, and he got there from making an attempt. That was it. It was the same philosophy that did everything, and he was just talking about, because he served his time, he's out, and he had a mural that they asked. He became an artist because he was an artist. That's how he became. I forget his name, but that's how he became a counterfeiter. And this mural was larger than anything he's ever done. And he's like, I don't even know where to begin.
Okay.
And he said, I was so intimidated.
Mural.
I'm Southern.
It's killing me.
Mural?
Mural.
A painting.
Is my
a
northern-
big painting,
Let's go with painting.
on a wall.
Let's go with painting.
Big painting on a wall. It's something he had never done before, but he just said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to quit thinking about it and just start. And then he was so proud, He was so proud when he stood back, and it's funny because he doesn't even fully understand what his gift is. His gift is not being a great artist. His gift is shutting down that part of your brain, your ego, that's saying you're not good enough, and saying, nope, I'm going to try and just see what happens. Laugh at me if it sucks, and that's it. That's it, and that's what we got to celebrate in this world.
Yeah,
it all the way down to raising your hand and asking a question in class.
Make an attempt.
Yeah,
make an attempt to do it.
If you were to become a counterfeiter,
what would I counterfeit?
What would you counterfeit?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because if it's cash, FBI, give me a week. I want to drive a Ferrari to work.
I don't know. I've never really had a desire. I mean, if I was Chinese, that would be celebrated. The Chinese only counterfeit. That's their culture.
Boy, are
they
they
actually
good at
look
it.
down on originality. They don't want. That's the communism, though. Don't stand out. And somehow the Chinese has figured out a way to make it, to last a little bit. But there's a lot of capitalism in there that's keeping it running.
Yeah, I think the one book, but not the other, for sure. Yeah.
I think it's the Japanese, and I don't know what made me think of this. We were talking about counterfeits, but my mind went to originals and maintaining something that's original. They will, you'll see, let's just use a bowl for an example. If a bowl breaks in their
That's
home,
when it becomes artistic. Yeah.
it becomes art. And what they'll do is they will get a precious metal. So they'll put it back together with gold. And you'll see
These
veins,
little wires in a vase.
Wow.
and now this bowl that's been in the family for how many ever years is now changed and more valuable.
It has character.
But they value it so much that they're like, this isn't garbage. I'm going to take this and make it even better. And they use something precious.
Yeah.
So you'll see these all over. But just imagine if we had repurposed something to that degree then valued it even more.
I wouldn't have any room in my house.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
At some point, I got to get rid of some stuff. But I do understand that. It's a beautiful concept, though. I mean, you take something that's broken, you add value to it, and now this is something that's invaluable to the family.
And it's beautiful. It's almost more valuable now that it's broken.
Yeah.
That's one reason I love my Jeep. I wouldn't refer to it as beautiful, but it's covered in dents and dings, and it's been flipped twice. It's literally been on the driver's side, it's been on the passenger side, and I have a story for every ding, and I love it because I just work with it, I modify it, and I love that. I love when you just make something out of it. There's so many stories and memories associated with that Jeep. That's why I keep it going. It's actually helped a lot of people. A lot of back roads, a lot of stories, a lot of good music, and it's a therapy vehicle for sure.
I would call that beautiful, brother.
Yeah.
I have a 1946 Ford 2N tractor. And so my father gave it to us when we moved into our home, went up there and we towed it down, and it still runs. And it still runs great. I mean, talk about things not being the way they used to be. I mean, that thing runs like a champ. It's a smaller tractor, so you can't do much on a farm, but I'm not doing like row crop, I'm just doing raised garden beds, but I'll use it every now and then. It's just amazing to know that, we just keep it running with a little bit of oil and little fine tuning here and there. This year upset me though, because last few years that we would always get like one big snowstorm every year, right? One big snowstorm. And undoubtedly, I would be out there like, okay, girls, I'm going to push some snow up so we can make a snow fort with it. And I'll use the tractor for that. But I would have let it set for too long. And then I'm out there in sub-zero weather trying to get the carburetor off to clean or something, right? This year, I had it ready to go. And we got the big winter storm, but I was laid up because I had just had surgery, so I wasn't going outside. The 1 year that I had it ready to go and couldn't get it out there.
I was so disappointed. I worked my butt off to get my Jeep ready to go, chainsaws, gasoline, and I got to deliver one heater. I was like, crap. But
that person,
I was still ready.
That person enjoyed the one heater for sure.
Where are we coming up on time, Brennan?
An hour and 40 minutes.
We probably better be looking for an out.
Yeah.
What a good conversation.
This is a guest we need to have back again.
I would
because
love
I
to.
could have this conversation.
Yeah. So that's
for
the
a
thing.
long time.
It's been a lot of fun.
We have a lot of new guests coming on, and every conversation has been amazing. But you have some that were like, okay, we got to have our the ones that come back. But the list is getting so long of people coming back. I'm like, where are we going to fit them in?
Well, you hit on it the other day. You were like, what we're going to eventually change to is one new guest, one return guest. One new guest, one return guest.
A week. That's going to be tough.
That's crazy.
That's a lot.
Well, as long as this keeps working, it makes my life a lot easier because it's a lot of work.
And I bet you we could use AI to drive out some of that work.
I do. What are you talking about? Every podcast.
Yeah.
You can ask about any podcast I've done.
Awesome.
Every podcast gets uploaded into the brain.
Nice.
And then what we do is I let Carlos, he goes through and picks out the points he likes, and then I'll edit down shorts to that. But every transcript goes in. I'm like, what would you cut from this? What would you, and I don't really have to cut anything, but like, what would you highlight?
Yeah.
And it's so good at it. I've been doing that for a while.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
I wish I could just do all the editing. It's almost there.
It'll get there.
Yeah.
Soon enough. Well, do we have anything else we want to cover?
No, I just want to say thanks. Thanks for inviting me over, man. This has been a lot of fun.
It's the opposite. Thank you.
No.
I know there's so many things to unpack, and I'm never really strategic in any of these, but man, you have a lot of the topics that I know you could go down because you're very educated, extremely knowledgeable in a lot of things that could make sense of the world around us. I really come, philosophy, and you come from real data. You know what I mean? And
we all bring our own interests and our own lived experiences into the mix. So it's not right or wrong, or it's just different. It's different aspects of life that we bring to the situation. So, I mean, I'm just happy to be part of the conversation.
Well, I'm happy to help you get started on your own thing. I would love to see you start putting out some shorts on YouTube, preserving all this wisdom and knowledge that you have. You got a ton of it. What are you going to do with it?
I guess
Can't take it with you.
I'm going to teach people how to garden.
Well, put it in videos. That little application should come with some how-to videos. I mean, we did create 2 media platforms for our company. You know how to use it.
Yeah.
We got to talk about that.
I just want to say, Nathan bragged on you quite a bit, but the things that stood out to me were how smart you were, how humble you were, and how kind you were.
Yeah.
Now, when I came in here after listening to the first podcast,
Were you intimidated?
I was intimidated.
Really?
I'm going to be honest.
You shouldn't have listened.
Not because, I mean, you were very warm and welcoming when we said hello, but that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
You obviously are a wealth of knowledge. I mean, that is absolutely evident. But what I can say from someone who came in intimidated is you made me feel incredibly comfortable with how you express your intelligence, how you articulate it, and honestly, how kind you are in your delivery.
Yeah.
Because I sat here going, man, I'm going to feel like a dummy. Mm-hmm. And not once did you make me feel inferior or in that way. In fact, what it did was it made me more hungry for knowledge and conversation with you. So you have an absolute gift and blessing in that. And thank you for being here, and I absolutely look forward to speaking with you more.
I do as well, and thank you. I am humbled by those comments, and quite honestly,
You know what? We need another 15 minutes, Brennan, because there's something I want to talk about.
Okay.
I mean, you finish your thought, but Brennan, we need another 10, 15 minutes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I am humbled that you guys would even ask me to come over and talk, and I love this stuff. I love getting a chance to talk about random thoughts, just anything that's on our minds, and just thank you so much. And this has been an awesome conversation. I'd love to do it again for sure.
So this is the few minutes that I think we need, because you don't know anything about Carlos. Carlos just recently celebrated his 3rd year of sobriety.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate you, brother.
And Jeremy, I don't know, and I can cut all this. We can go to another ending, because I know that you had your struggles.
Yes, I have.
And I don't know if you're willing to even talk about it, but
am.
you, at a very young age, he grew up. He has a fascinating story. So the next time we get him on, we got to get him back.
Yeah.
Your father either owned a junkyard or ran a junkyard.
No, we lived in a junkyard.
Okay. Well, they were in demolition derbies. You know what I mean? All these things. So Jeremy, if I'm not mistaken, you started drinking very young.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with that.
Oh, I know
but-
that. I know
but
that. I had to add the crash up derby.
I did. I had so I started drinking when I was 13, and I quit when I was 22. But during that time, it was I will say this. I don't know if that bred the OCD in me or if the OCD helped me through it, because I compartmentalized everything, right? So I was able to silo school and work with this other aspect of my life. And I am so blessed by so many people that have helped me along the way. First and foremost, in particular, would be my father, because, having his own struggles, but being a witness to me, to know that he had gone through similar situations and had been sober for so long, and growing up in that, I'm sure that he would not want me to go through those struggles, but I would want him to know that it was his witness to the witness of his life, and going through just life struggle and everything else, and being able to maintain that sobriety is what helped me get through at 22, just realizing, man, I am causing a wreck of this, and I need to get out. And so if Dad's watching, love you, Dad, and thank you, because that was really one of the main things that got me through. Is Dad got me through. Dad got through, and I can too. And so yeah, I have. And you'll note, I don't know if this has been the way for you or not, but even afterwards, it for me, it's been a path ever since, of just digging out the baggage, you know what I mean? And that bag gets lighter over time. I mean, it's been, let's see, January 15th of 2002. So what is that? 24 years.
Long time ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
24 years ago. And I'm 46. So, but even still, you stop. The house was on fire. Okay, now the house is no longer on fire, but there's a lot of rebuilding, and we still have to figure out why the heck that fire started in the first place, right? And so that's been a long journey for me as well, and I'm still learning more about the own baggage that I've had, that I've been carrying along the way, and I've had to come to realize that I think it's just a constant process of digging that will be there. Obviously, God has gotten me through. I've had a lot of good folks that have got me through. My wife is a saint, and we could go into a lot of discussions there, but she's put up with a lot as well. And I've been blessed. I have to say, I've been extremely blessed with God's providential hand on my life, just putting the right people in place at the right time to say the right thing, to have the right conversation near a whiteboard, or because we've had some deep conversations as well at work, not about work.
Nope.
and I've been extremely blessed. And I think being able to look back and see that also gives me confidence for the future, because I know God's going to be there in the future as well to put that right person in the way. Hopefully I'll see it when they come as well. So I am just extremely proud and happy for you, and congratulations. And if you ever want to reach out, by all means.
No, you're stuck with me. I'm going to add you on Facebook, get your phone number.
You got it.
It's such a connection. We've been meeting such incredible people through this, and people that I've known that I'm introducing, and vice versa. But it's almost like, looking into a mirror, not just because we're both bald men, but it's, you say baggage, and I learned to call it root causes. You say the house was on fire, and for me it was picking up a boulder and learning to put it down. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to pick up that boulder again.
Right.
I'm just not holding on to it as long as I used to.
Yeah.
And my father was a big influence for me in a different way. He was an alcoholic, but he taught me so much, and I got so much of my fight from him.
Yeah.
That though he's part of the root causes where I started drinking, he's also one of the causes for me to have stopped. And then I've had all the right people come along the way, and my mentor Ruiz, just people that loved on me. It took a village. Like when people say, congratulations on your sobriety. My sobriety is not my own. Yes, I did a lot of work, but there's so many people that I credit that share this victory.
Yeah.
And some of them from unconventional places. This is one of my best buddies right here, and we've grown a lot closer rather quickly. And we have completely opposite views on so much, alcohol being one of them. But
I don't know about views, but experiences.
Experiences.
Yeah.
And that's not a negative by any means. And ironically, one of the places where we talk the most and get along is at a bar. Yeah. Now, the big difference is, he's good with alcohol. I have no problem being around it, but it's not for me. I don't push it on other folks. It took me a long time to get there. I don't recommend that you do that early on in your sobriety, or for some people ever. But putting people that you never expected. I never expected the guy that loves sitting at a bar, sitting with bartenders and all that, because I used to be that guy, to be one of the most positive influences now in my life, and giving me perspective that I would never have.
Right.
Nathan's a very, very unique, singular human being. And a lot of it, though we go back and forth and bust each other's chops, I learned a lot from you, brother. And I appreciate that, because you also don't judge me in a way where I feel wrong, or sometimes he's like, are you worried that people are going to say well, he has 0 beers, or, 0 alcohol beers, or you hang with me at a bar? And I'm like, no, sir, I do not care. One of the best things I learned from Nathan is other people's opinions of me are none of my business. And
I wished I could take credit for that.
And I'm really trying to live that. That doesn't mean I don't have self-respect and that my reputation doesn't matter, but I've taken so much from an unconventional place, and that place is a person. So just conversations like this, we grow and we drop a little bit more of that baggage each time with each relationship and conversation.
And I agree. And I will pile on to the love fest we're having with Nathan, because
we're making him uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's right.
I have my glasses on.
Yeah. Well, Valentine's Day is coming, and maybe so. But no, so I have to agree. Nathan and I, we were working with each other during some challenging moments in my life as well. Not with alcohol, the other stuff. And I know Nathan probably doesn't even know some of the conversations that has helped me through some of the tough times as well. And just the insight that you bring is immeasurable. Appreciate it.
He had said something about, not all of our conversations were about work, but I would argue that it was about values that influenced our work. It improved our work with the people around us.
Yeah.
And so it was just about being better.
Yeah.
And you helped me out tremendously. I remember I'd never been in a darker place in my life, and I wasn't religious. I wasn't a so-called Christian, to some degree a believer, but not practicing in any way. And I remember it was just you and I. The office was empty. It was a ghost town. If you ever seen the show, what is that show called? Where I can't think of the name of it, but anyways, it's just like 4 people working at a desk and the whole place is empty. I can't think of the name of it. It's relatively new. But anyways, it was a ghost town. And I remember I walked over and I was like, buddy, and I'm not one to do this. This is out of character for me in every way possible. But Jeremy if you catch him on break, he's reading his Bible every single day, every day. And I remember going up to him and I'm like, this may be awkward, buddy. I don't even know if we worked together at the time. Like, we worked
Maybe
in the same
not.
department, but he wasn't my supervisor at the time.
I don't think so.
And I just remember saying, can you please pray for me? And he did.
Wow.
And that was like the defining moment. That was like the moment that it was slow and incremental, but I kept growing closer. And then you'd invite me over to New World Outreach. You know what I mean? People kept ending up in my life at certain times, and it was not an overnight, and it's still not. I think I'm in a good spot, but I'm incrementally growing closer.
That never changes. That never stops. That's sanctification, right? Salvation is in an instant, and sanctification is from that point on. And I am not perfect by any stretch, and thank you all so much for saying so many nice things. And there's just as many instances of my failures in those same things where I might have made somebody feel, bad or whatever the case might be. But that's sanctification is not going to end at any time. We're constantly, and that's part of the blessing of it is the growth, is digging in and refinement, right? God talks about it as a refinement. You put impure metals or valuable metals, but with impurities. And how do you get the impurities out? You refine it in a fire, and it burns, and all of that stuff comes to the top. You got to wipe it off, and then you just keep doing it.
Well, I've been using this analogy a lot. I kind of developed it from something our pastor Corey said. But, I was thinking about perfection, and it's foolishness to even consider it. But Jesus Christ was the epitome of perfection. And I thought, Jesus Christ is the target. We don't have to hit the target. We just need to continue to aim for it.
Right.
And I repeat that a lot. Like, some days I'm on, some days I'm off. And I think that's okay. That's kind of the way I accept and show myself grace. And I'm leaning into my faith in Christianity and saying, okay, you don't have to even attempt to be perfect.
Yeah,
but just aim for the target the best you can.
And that's that's an awesome word that you just put out there, because shame will so often keep people away from that sanctification walk, because it breeds hopelessness, right? Whereas if you can give yourself grace because somebody better gave you grace, then you realize, you're right, I failed, and I'm going to wake up tomorrow and try again. And now I have the learning from that struggle, from that failure or that mistake, to try again even better.
Yeah. I'm so glad we went that extra 15 minutes.
Me too.
I am too.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask Jeremy for something.
Okay.
And I think Rocky started it, but with somebody like him,
Absolutely.
would
I'd
you
already thought about
mind
it too.
praying us out?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
I would love to. Gotta take off my hat. Sorry about the glare in the audience.
Mine's a little browner, apparently.
I get out there gardening and get a tan. Heavenly Father, God, thank you so much. Thank you for the ability to bring men together to have deep conversations like this, just focused on growth, focused on learning, focused on having fun. You've made us for that as well. God, we thank you. We thank you for the life that you give us. We thank you for the people that you put around us. Heavenly Father, we ask that you just give us the boldness to walk in faith, to take that action, take that step, meet the commitment that we make to ourselves and to you and to others around us. Help us be your hands and feet to those around us. Help us to see the people in need and respond. Help us to, in all things, do it for your glory and not our own. Please keep everyone here safe and their families safe. And God, just let this be for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Beautiful.
That's it. Until next time. So long, friends. Thank you so much.